Okay, guys, I'm rebuking those system updates because I noticed that they do it a lot throughout the daytime or the night. But the fact that it did it yesterday and today, I feel like that's demonic. So I'm rebuking that. But guess what? I'm going to come on and do another video. So you guys check out the part 2. Again, it's not my intention to be doing all these videos. But I am going to read Leviticus 11 because we were just getting ready to read that. I'm sorry, Leviticus 10 because we were just getting ready to read that. So I will read that chapter and then we'll pick up 11 tomorrow. Because we only had like maybe, it was on 24 minutes, I think, 25 minutes. So we only had a few minutes left. So I just want to literally spend just a few minutes on here with that. So check out both. The death of Nadab and Abihu. And guys, let me know what you're getting out of Bible study. What did you get out of this video this morning and the video prior to this? But it's all one. So Aaron's sons, Nadab and Abihu, took their censers. Let me turn this on. Took their censers, put fire in them, and added incense. And they offered unauthorized fire before the Lord, contrary to his command. Now, you remember in our earlier Bible study this month, in Numbers and Leviticus, when we talked about his sons and how pretty much they were put to death. They were the ones that did the unholy fire. So look, so they offer unauthorized fire before the Lord, contrary to his command. So fire came out from the presence of the Lord and consumed them, and they died before the Lord. Right? So Moses then said to Aaron, "This is what the Lord spoke of when he said, among those who approach me, I will show myself holy. In the sight of all the people, I will be honored." Aaron remained silent. Moses summoned Mishael and Elzaphan, sons of Aaron's uncle, Uzziel, and said to them, "Come here, carry your cousins outside the camp, away from the front of the sanctuary." So they came and carried them still in their tunics outside the camp as Moses ordered. Somebody say, as Moses ordered. Then Moses said to Aaron and his sons Eleazar and Ithamar, "Do not let your hair become unkempt, or do not uncover your heads, and do not tear your clothes, or you will die. And the Lord will be angry with the whole community." That means basically what I feel like the Lord is saying with this. Even though your brothers just died and they're supposed to continue on with you, you got to maintain your position. Don't even cry over them. Don't, because you know back then, to show fasting and weeping if someone died, they had these songs. They would sing these sad songs. They would tear their clothes. They would put on like ashes and sackcloth. They would just, that was how they did it. And basically he's telling them, y'all not going to do that. I'm not doing that today. Right? So, but your relatives, all the house of Israel, may mourn for those the Lord has destroyed by fire. See, even though, because it says Aaron remained silent. So Moses is talking to them, the sons, Eleazar and Ithamar, and he's giving instructions for Mishael and Elzaphan to carry the cousins, so even in the midst of the hard times, even in the midst of wrong, even in the midst of God doing things that maybe we understand or don't understand, because God had told them simple and clear not to do that with that fire prior, but they didn't listen and they suffered the consequence. So there are some of you that maybe you didn't want to see that happen to that person, or maybe you didn't want to see that go that way. But God still needs you to play your position. He's going to give you the grace and strength because he has a work for you to carry out. He doesn't want that to take you out. And there's this quote that I saw some time ago, and it's very true. It says, sometimes God has to break your heart in order to save your soul. God will break our heart, but the heartache. He will allow that heartache so that he can heal us. He will allow that heartache to show us who that person was, or what that was, or what would have been coming with that. He will allow it to break us now so that it doesn't destroy us later. He will allow that so that our soul can be saved, so that we can move more in the things of God, so we can get really deeper with him. So that's a word for someone, right? We've all been there. But God is with you through it, and he'll be with you through it. When I say we all been there, I mean we all can sympathize and empathize with one another. We all can relate to feeling that or having gone through that type of experience. So, do not leave the entrance to the tent of meeting, or you will die, because the Lord's anointing oil is on you. So they did as Moses said. God has a plan and purpose for your life. We cannot We cannot control other people's actions. You know, we could wish and want the best for people and pray for them and want well for them, but at the end of the day, it's going to boil down to their decisions. It's going to boil down to their obedience. You know, it's going to boil down to what they want. You know what I mean? And we have to choose God over that and be at peace and pray for them and not allow that to keep us tangled and stuck and bound. I could give you guys so many personal examples right now, but I'm not. I just want to finish up for the Bible study this morning. Then the Lord said to Aaron, you and your sons are not to drink wine or other fermented drink whenever you go into the tent of meeting, or you will die. This is a lasting ordinance for the generations to come. Someone say, this is a lasting ordinance for the generations to come. You must distinguish between the holy and the common. Here's a word for someone. Not exactly like how it is with these commandments and these laws, but God is saying this for your discernment and wisdom to go to another level, because God has another level for you. You must distinguish between the holy and the common, between the unclean and the clean. There's a scripture in the Bible that says, be ye separate and holy. Come out from among them. That's a word for someone this morning. God is consecrating you and calling you to be set apart. It doesn't mean that you're better than the other person. And people that have that mindset is like, what does that say about them? We are one in Christ. We all should be united. But for a person to feel like that, it's like, what does it say more about them than what they're saying to you? You must distinguish between the holy and the common, between the unclean and the clean, and you must teach the Israelites all the decrees the Lord has given them through Moses. Let's do 12 through 20, and then we're going to close. And then we'll pick up the rest tomorrow in Bible study. I'll make a note. And I didn't forget about our video, guys, our first fruits. I'm going to see if we can do that this weekend or before. We're going to be talking about the first fruits. I'm just trying my best to be consistent with Bible study, and just because, you know, we're doing other things with the channel as well besides the videos. So we have a lot that we're doing. But we're going to do the first fruits video soon. I'm going to try to do it this weekend or before the weekend. I'm going to try my best. So Moses said to Aaron and his remaining sons, Eleazar and Ithamar, take the grain offering left over from the offerings made to the Lord by fire and eat it prepared without yeast beside the altar, for it is most holy. Eat it in the holy place, because it is your share and your son's share of the offerings made to the Lord by fire, for so I have been commanded. And I would like to say this really quick. This is a point that Holy Spirit just showed me. We're going to keep going. 1 verse 14. You know, those, hold on, wait, let me see their name again. Abihu and Nadab, they knew God. They knew the position of God. They knew their brothers were positioned of God, their father, all these different things. And they still allowed themselves to do what God had told them not to do, even though they were under the strict rules and laws and regulations. It's like something must have possessed them, or maybe they felt like because they were so close to God, they were untouchable and they could do it and God not deal with them. And then, you know, you have to remember that this is a different time. Back then, and it's not like how it is today. So when God said something, he meant it just like he means it today, but this was like under, like, there were certain rules and regulations in place. And there are some people, you know, they're so high up to people on the pinnacle, and they feel untouchable and they feel invincible, and they allow their attitude and where they are now to overshadow their relationship with God and the anointing that God has placed on their life, and they feel like they can just offer God unholy fire in their lives. These could be some people of God, and I pray for them. I'm not saying anyone specifically, but we've all seen it throughout the world. They become more entangled in the world than in God. In the church, that their church may not look like the church, or their private life may not match their public life. And they feel like because they're at this high place in God, or they're at this high place of how the world views them, that God will not punish them and deal with them. And this is why it is so important for our private life and our public life to match, because it will be exposed. God said what you do in private, I will bless publicly. He will expose publicly, because it says when you pray, go to your Father who is in secret, and your Father who is in secret will reward you openly, publicly. Some translations say. So don't be like Abihu and Nadab, who just knew what God said, and they knew how strong that conviction was, and they still did it. Who knows? It had to be something demonic to possess them to do it, but the fact that they acted on it, it cost them their life. It cost them to miss out on the position that God had for them. And then who knows the people that they would have met that they could have been a blessing to. So that's a word for someone like we talked about before. Sometimes, like that quote says, God has to break your heart in order to save your soul. Okay. So let's close. But you and your sons and your daughters may eat the breast that was waved and the thigh that was presented. Eat them in a ceremonially clean place. They have been given to you and your children as your share of the Israelites' fellowship offerings, which means peace offerings. And this also means I don't want you going close by Nadab and Abihu, because they're ceremonially unclean and they got to be carried out. They got to be carried outside the camp, away from the front of the sanctuary. But God is calling them to remain in their position amidst what's going on. So the thigh that was presented and the breast that was waved must be brought with the fat portions of the offerings made by fire to be waved before the Lord as a wave offering. This will be the regular share for you and your children as the Lord has commanded. When Moses inquired about the goat of the sin offering and found that it had been burned up, he was angry with Eleazar and Ithamar, Aaron's remaining sons, and asked, "Why didn't you eat the sin offering in the sanctuary area? It is most holy. It was given to you to take away the guilt of the community by making atonement for them." Oh, that's a bright line. It's going to go by fast, guys. It was given to you to take away the guilt of the community by making atonement for them before the Lord. Since his blood was not taken into the holy place, you should have eaten the goat in the sanctuary area as I commanded. Aaron replied to Moses, "Today they sacrificed their sin offering and their burnt offering before the Lord, but such things as this have happened to me." See, because he's going through too with this whole situation. Would the Lord have been pleased if I had eaten the sin offering today? When Moses heard this, he was satisfied. Okay, so guys, I pray that you guys were encouraged by this Bible study this morning, that you're encouraged by all of the Bible studies. I want to thank you for tuning in. I want to thank you for joining. And you guys have a blessed, prosperous, and peaceful day. God bless.